when we first started dating, when I was still in prison, people asked if the age difference was going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was something I was very aware of, and I didn't sense an age difference in our conversations. It felt like when we were talking, that was not a thing that we were worried about, but it's there, and yeah, I mean, I guess age is just a number, except in some ways, like having kids.
Yeah, so when we first started talking, we, kind of built this friendship. And then we had this day where she was like, look, can we talk about what's going on here? Because I'm in love with you. And then rather than being like, oh, this is wonderful, it's going to go on forever, we like got down to the nitty gritty. She was like, all right, let's talk about kids because I'm not having any more.
That wasn't the very first day.
That was definitely the first day. It was literally the first conversation. And we started like comparing bullet points of like, okay, well, would we be willing to do a surrogate, or would we be willing to not have kids? We would be willing to adopt. Like what? And this is not a normal like, ooh, lovey-dovey first conversation, but that was kind of how we did the whole relationship. Like
Yeah,
we came in intentionally.
We were really intentional, very specific, and also it did feel like, I mean, there was kind of like no subject that was like barred. I mean, we could talk about anything, and I think, I mean, that was partly how and why I fell in love with you. Is just like if you think it, you say it, and yeah.
So part of the thing was, well, what about a woman in menopause? Like, what is that going to mean? What is the reality?
Yeah, because
of our
as I was
relationship?
falling in love with him, I'm like coming up on 50, and that is a reality, and that started to super stress me out.
Yeah, so I mean, we had like some conversations where she was like in tears, like worried about her disappearing vagina, and it was an adventure. But that was the thing. We were willing to be there through our own insecurities and our neuroses and our just insanity, because that's what a relationship is. It's not two perfect people. It's two very imperfect people showing up for each other every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And so with the menopause thing, I think that's kind of this major change in life that I don't know. It just sort of came up on me, and you hear sort of things that it can mean, or things that happen to you at this age. And I kind of freaked out that like, oh my God, I'm falling in love for the first time in, 20 years, right as I'm approaching this like precipice. Like, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to turn into something else? Am I going to lose interest in sex? Am I going to, like, how is this going to play out? And so, yeah, so that was, he had to listen to a lot of that.
And we had discussions about it, because she was like, look, I don't think that you should be in a relationship that you're not sexually satisfied. So like the day I'm not interested in sex, I'm going to talk to the doctor. Like, and if that wasn't, like, I would understand if we broke up. Like, we had these insanely detailed, like, intimate, uncomfortable conversations, but that was what made it so strong. Then I think the realities of the age difference were a little bit different. Like the music thing, like she told me she liked 80s music, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't talk to her. And then I found out she likes 80s rock and not like synth pop, and I was like, okay, we can be friends again. But it was, for me, the most intimidating thing was her friends. Because all her friends are probably even a little older than her. They're all wildly successful. And I'm walking in like the guy who, fresh out of prison, has no idea what he's doing. And this is an astrophysicist, and this is a federal attorney, and I was just like, yeah, I feel really out of place. But strangely, I had amazing conversations, and I really like her friends.
Yeah, because my friends are really nice and great.
Yeah. But she hasn't had the same thing with me, because I think that I had such a weird, eclectic mix of friends anyways. It wasn't like a bunch of like, teeny boppers.
I think that's an interesting thing about you, actually. It's like his friendships span age, and I think it has to do with building these deep relationships through letter writing. But yeah. So he had friends in their 70s, and really good friends, like that he was having deep connection with, and men and women, and like you connected with so many different kinds of people. And I think that you are, in that way, sort of ageless.
Oh, thank you. So the reality of our relationship has been that there were lots of questions, and there were lots of legitimate concerns, like things about kids and things about compatibility and things about expectations. But the reality has been pretty ageless, because two people who come together with that understanding that we're both imperfect, but that we had the intention of showing up for each other, it just works.
It does.